I am Henry, ZL1AAN, and I thought I might give you a short introduction to my amateur radio station. Basically, it consists of transmitters and receivers. Often they are in one box called a transceiver, and the antennas. So let's start with some antennas. Here are two antennas intended for entirely different frequency ranges. The one at the back is what's called a Slim Jim. It is an end-fed dipole. The bottom section up to the circular mount is a quarter wave matching section, and the rest is the end-fed dipole. The cable will go where you see the bright solder spots. This is an off-center fed dipole which is ready for portable use. It has got one length of wire that is 2/3 of the other, and the idea is that it can be tuned up for any frequency that is a multiple of 80 meters, 80, 40, 20, 10. The coaxial cable is for feeding the transmitter into it. There is a balun, and that is intended for matching the antenna to the cable. My Radio Shack is not intended as a living room ready for presentation. It does serve its purpose. The computer is now set up for data reception from the TS570S Kenwood, but also switched on is the FT847, which is a multi-band satellite transceiver going from the 70 centimeter band to the 2 meter band, and then the whole HF range. But for data reception and transmission, I do prefer the TS570S. In a portable situation, it is also a little bit simpler to operate for people that are not familiar with my sets. There's a multitude of cables here. The HF antenna is actually the half hidden grey cable here, and it goes up to the antenna tuner. From there it goes into an elliptical filter that I constructed myself, which is this one. It was intended to guard against breakthrough into the old TV frequencies, but it is still useful as a filter to keep you out of domestic equipment. Now, this thingy there is actually a TV splitter. It is intended for digital reception. It no longer has resistors in it. There are PAL tuned circuits, and the result is that it makes it much easier to keep your transmissions out of TVs and stereo players and stuff like that. In my description of the HF side of the station, we got as far as the elliptical filter. From the elliptical filters I go to a switch, and the intention of that one is to allow me to change over from the FT847 to the TS570S. Basically, I don't have to constantly change cables. A very important part of the station is the power supply for the transceiver. This is the one for the FT847, and it's specifically made for that rig. It is preferable to use the power supply provided by the maker of the transceiver. If you've got any problem with the set and you're using a power supply that's not intended for the transceiver, your guarantee may not be held as valid. The power supply for the TS570S actually was made for an earlier transceiver, Kenwood. From memory it was a TS440, but it is still working. I did have to repair it once, and they are actually now difficult to get hold of, which is a bit of a pain. It is now the middle of the afternoon on March the 14th, and this is not the most ideal time for demonstrating propagation. Nobody to talk to on voice, and not much happening on a data mode called JT65. JT65 is quite limited in its vocabulary, but it does have the advantage that you can get contacts often when the rest of the 20-meter band seems to be dead. On the screen we have two American stations talking to each other. Grey means that they don't want to talk to me, so I'm not supposed to break in on that one. There's various settings, various ways of answering them, but I won't go much into detail. It's just one of the things that you can do with your HF station. The transceivers these days have got broadband coverage, including broadcast frequencies. Here is Radio Australia, one of the few station networks that has not been totally dismantled since television and broadcast went over to satellites and microwave. Here again, Radio Australia through a loudspeaker enclosure that I made last century. I am not doing as much construction now as I used to do. Excuse the cables, they are all to do with computer connections. On the FT847 you also have marine frequencies as well as some of the airband frequencies, including satellites. Of course, the moment I turn on the video, they stop talking. Here is the marine weather forecast. And while I was messing around with the FT847 and its maritime frequency, we finally got some signals on JT65 on the TS570S. Unfortunately, this last transmission it did not decode. The green entry is a request for answering this call. We had the marine weather situation, and here is the air traffic weather situation.
Auckland information, Mike issued at 0158, active runway mode, normal operations, refer flight guide or Jefferson White pages. Expect ILS DME approach, runway 05 right, runway condition dry.
So this is a rough rundown of my station. Amateur radio has recently become more integrated with the computer world. Newer sets have got D-Star on them, which allow digital as well as analog communication and vice versa, transferring digital audio into analog audio and the other way around. There are repeaters that are linked to the internet and so on. I am a little bit stuck in the old way of doing things, but then I am 73, so I might be slightly excused. Thank you for watching this.